So I had a great question in my DMs that I wanted to share with you.
And I'm sure as a liberal pastor who does not believe that the Word of God is actually the Word of God, that you'll give a wonderful, beautiful answer that God would give, right?
They said, why do you debunk the Bible while also trying to follow its teachings?
Well, that actually is a really great question. I look forward to hearing your answer.
And a point of clarification, I'm not trying to debunk the Bible.
Yeah, you are. When you pulled up the 5 Gospels and talk about the Jesus seminar and talk about how the Gospel of John wasn't really written by John, that's exactly what you're doing. You are no different than Dan McClellan. You're an atheist hiding as a religious person.
Instead, what I'm doing is offering biblical context.
No, you're offering liberal context. Biblical context would see what the Bible has to say,
So that we can read the Bible better and more authentically.
according to a minority of scholars that are already skeptic. Yeah, that's what you're doing.
It just seems like debunking
Because it actually is, but he'll say,
because the religious right has so controlled and bastardized the message of Jesus.
is there any evidence of that? Because we actually have the Bible, which we haven't changed. We actually have copies that go back to the 4th century. So what did we do that bastardized or controlled? What's your evidence?
That anytime we look at the socio-historical context
He loves that word.
of the biblical text, it seems radical.
Because it is.
But it shouldn't be that way. If we think about the time period that the Bible was written in,
Correction, the time period you say it's written in rather than when it actually was written in, because you ignore all the evidence that says it was written when we say it was written. Or was Polycarp lying when he said that John wrote the Gospel of John?
if we look at the original intent of the authors,
Well, you're certainly the worst person to do that because you got it completely wrong when you tried to debunk the Gospel of John.
then that is actually showing more respect for the biblical text.
So, saying that John didn't write John and that Jesus didn't say what he said is respect for the text? That's like tearing apart Charles Dickens and saying it's all trash. That's how I'm respecting Charles Dickens.
And so I think it's actually a more authentic reading.
Of course you do, because it allows you to tear out the parts you don't like, that don't allow you to live in sin.
Whenever we try to understand the Bible a little bit better.
No, you want to understand the Bible a little bit differently, not better.
And the same goes with the teachings of Jesus. Whenever we understand the teachings of Jesus a little more clearly, whenever we try to think about what he is more likely or less likely to have said.
And keep in mind, his only evidence for this was a council of skeptics and atheists called the Jesus Seminar.
Well, then we end up with better theology.
Do you know what the word theology actually means? Because I don't think you know what that means.
So I'm not trying to debunk the Bible.
You are totally trying to debunk the Bible.
Just trying to read it more authentically.
No, you're trying to read it more strategically.
So that I can follow the teachings of Jesus better.
No, it's so that you can feel confirmed in your sin and ignore the parts you don't like. Who are you going after next, Paul?